Let's go ahead and get to four downs as times have been announced for the upcoming football season, which is just right around the corner. Tennessee will play NC State at 7:30 on ABC. Will that be Nico's coming out party? What other games stand out that day the most is proof the SEC has done a pretty good deal with ESPN, and is it the biggest game of the day? Here we go. It is Four Downs, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
Four Downs brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all four seasons. Four Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
Just initial thoughts. Cooper Mays is going to tell you what to do here momentarily, but first, Caleb Calhoun.
Coop here, first down.
What do you think of the 7:30 start on ABC? To me, that's a way to get fans very excited, nationally televised game. We're not bouncing around on an app looking for a UTEP or something crazy like that. This, to me, is a day full of partying, getting together. It's not the very first game of the season, but it kicks it off in September, and I think this could be, depending on what happens the rest of the month, a pretty neat day for Tennessee fans.
And for context, we're talking about the Tennessee NC State game at 7:30 p.m. in Charlotte. I think this is a great event, and it's funny because it's in Charlotte, but it's technically a neutral site. This is what I love about September college football. I think September college football games like this are much more about a weekend event than they are. They are about the game, but they're also about a weekend event and making a fun weekend out of it. I've always been a fan of this. I've always advocated for this. I've always said that they should be doing this. It's the second weekend. I prefer the first weekend with neutral site games around Labor Day where you can make a trip to a place. You know what I'm talking about, Dave? I've argued this. NASCAR does that Chase Cup, which drives me crazy, but I've always said that they should start the Chase Cup the weekend of Labor Day and have it in Atlanta the same week, or at that track outside of Atlanta, the one in Georgia, you know what I'm talking about? And also have the college football game of the week in Atlanta that day. So you could go to the NASCAR race, you could go to a college football game on Saturday and just make the best Labor Day weekend out of it possible. And I love neutral site events like that.
And let's be honest, this neutral site, even though it's in North Carolina, Tennessee will probably win the fan ratio, and it's big for recruiting. I don't know why. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to ask it right now. What down, Coop?
Cooper Mays here, second down.
What does NC State get out of this?
I think NC State
likely beat down in their recruiting territory. I just don't know why they scheduled it. And I would rather it be in Knoxville, as the poster said.
Yeah. I guess with NC State, they think they could. Maybe they made this deal when Tennessee was really bad, and they thought they could, in front of their fans, beat Tennessee.
Or unknown in the first year or two, Josh Heupel. I would have to go back and look. Have you seen a line for this number?
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. It was Tennessee. It was Tennessee 5.5.
Well,
and look, NC State is. Look, I'm going to tell you this, and here's the other part, and this is the part you're missing. They're jockeying right now. Conference realignment is happening very soon. We know the SEC wants North Carolina, but if they can't get North Carolina, NC State's second on their list, and NC State needs to really, really, really up their game if they're going to get into the SEC one day. But the SEC wants a North Carolina school, and NC State would love to be that North Carolina school.
They wouldn't get it over North Carolina, would they?
But there's a chance North Carolina could reject the SEC for the Big Ten.
Okay. Hit that like and subscribe button. Do that now if you haven't to this point. We greatly appreciate it. Coop, what do people need to do to be a bigger part of the program?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. What down, Coop?
Tennessee Center, Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Was that the right down? I'm confusing myself. Okay. Second down.
Help us out on the message board, guys. We lost track of downs.
What other games on that day stand out the most?
The games on the weekend of the Tennessee NC State game?
Yes. Where will Tennessee be in the pecking order of publicity?
Okay, so Arkansas, Oklahoma State could be interesting if you have any faith whatsoever in Sam Pittman to make them competitive. But the most standout game, I mean, the most obvious standout game that's going to be Tennessee, NC State is Texas and Michigan. That's going to be the one that everybody's going to watch. And
So you're on that second tier, maybe number one on that second tier. Is that fair?
that is fair. Now, here's what's going to help. Texas and Michigan that's in Ann Arbor. And for those who don't know how TV contracts work, basically the home team, their TV contract gets the deal. So like, for instance, when the SEC had a contract with CBS, if an SEC team hosted a non-conference team, CBS could get first dibs on that game. You see what I'm saying? So that's how those typically work. The Big Ten, that game is not out yet, but the Big Ten, even with their new CBS deal, they place a high value on noon games. And guess what? Noon football is pretty awesome. I got to be honest with you guys. I love it. Big noon kickoff is great. I wish there was more of those. But Texas and Michigan, I think, would be a big noon kickoff, at which point Tennessee, NC State could still stand alone for the 7:30 matchup that night. Colorado, Nebraska is still going to be a competition as a game, though, so watch out for that. But overall, yes, Tennessee could be the standout sole game at 7:30 that everybody's watching.
All right. Now, something I know you want to get to is third down, Goop.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
By the way, I remind you, 4 Downs is brought to you by our good friends at Dynasty Pools and Spas. Will this be Nico Iamaleava's breakout game for the Heisman? Will he be a true Heisman contender after this game? Stop by Dynasty Pools and Spas right off of I-75 in Athens and pick up a free Celebrate 98 book or Off the Hook Sports t-shirt just for stopping by and tell Scott we said hello. Is this the breakout party for Nico Iamaleava?
No, it could be. And I know I set it up. I set it up for you to ask the question because I was trying to create the excitement. But I'm going to respond and come back with it won't be the breakout game. It'll be a game that he plays very well in. It'll start to generate buzz. But I think it'll be like that Pittsburgh game in 2022 where I think Tennessee is still kind of figuring some things out. I think they're going to kind of win ugly. And you're going to come away from that game being like, man, they had like 5 opportunities to close the deal and they couldn't do it. They barely pulled it out in the end. I think it's going to be that type of NC State game. And it's kind of you breathe a sigh of relief. But Nico looks good. And then 2 weeks later is his breakout game when Tennessee plays Oklahoma. And Josh Heupel saves everything for Oklahoma and then unleashes on Oklahoma. And Nico's going to put money on Nico hitting 6 touchdowns against Oklahoma. 6. I'm going for 6 touchdowns with Nico against Oklahoma.
Okay. Now, I know this is the ACC, okay? And that's why it was so hard to get a good feel for Iowa and how good they were. But I just want to mention they were the 3rd best in pass defense rating last year in the ACC. And I know it's the ACC, but they also have a young man coming in, Donovan Kaufman from Auburn, who had 37 tackles last year, 100 career tackles. So he should make that secondary even better. That has some experience coming back. Also brings a certain amount of unknown. All that being said, hope you like the information. It's UTC. He's going to throw for 380 yards against UTC in week 1. I don't think it's going to take as long as you do for him to be the cat's meow and a very in vogue name in college football. I think that's going to happen after numero uno, 60 minutes.
No one's going to talk about the Tennessee UTC game, though. That's the thing. Tennessee fans will start to know he's special after that game.
Here's why I disagree with you. If this is, let's say, Nebraska back in the day with Tom Osborne as the head coach, they would beat you down 24-9, right? And then your quarterback wouldn't get any attention. But when they put up 60 and throw, and Nico, he accounts for 350 yards. It won't be more because they'll pull him. He's going to be one of the few exciting things to talk about in terms of great performances. I think that fans already want to like him. Don't you sense that fans want to like Nico? Even fans of other schools that just like watching good football. Don't you sense they want Nico to be successful?
I think the college football world does, because I think it's just so exciting. Nico being successful is good for college football. I just don't, there's the one thing I'll say this, the one thing working in your favor, and this is my biggest pet peeve of college football, is they never, ever, ever have marquee games on Labor Day weekend. I don't know why they do that. The NFL gives you the weekend. The NFL doesn't, the NFL could open Labor Day weekend if they wanted to. They choose not to.
You're probably too young to remember the preseason kickoff games. Do you remember those?
For the NFL?
No, they have preseason kickoff games in college. So Tennessee played in one in New Jersey. Guys, help me on the message board.
Oh, that's right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they did that, and they did the
They played Colorado.
Classic. Colorado
that
in
was
the
the Eric Bieniemy game.
That was in Anaheim.
Yeah, and they played another one in New Jersey. They played two in a row.
In New Jersey in '87.
Okay, because Tennessee was so fast forward about get on TV. That was one of their major recruiting advantages. Not a recruiting advantage anymore. So I don't know why you have neutral site games anymore at all. I would want those people back at the University of Tennessee. I remind
particularly when Charlotte's not. Do you think this Duke's Mayo Classic is? Do you think they're paying out enough to offset what Tennessee can making this a home game? There's no way, right? Like
I can tell you that about 20 years ago, about 18 years ago, Tennessee would clear a little over $1 million on a home game. So that's probably quadrupled by then. So I would have trouble thinking that Duke's Mayo is doling out that much mayonnaise.
Like the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Chick-fil-A kickoff in Atlanta, they are doling out that money, right? They're doling out that type of money to get that neutral site game at the beginning of every year, I'm pretty sure. Or the one in Dallas?
Yeah, they're doling out some money. And that's a sexier game. I mean, they're going to be on TV. All you have to do is stop by Dynasty Pools and Spas, get a free Celebrate 98 book just by taking a look at their spas and telling our good friends at Dynasty Pools and Spas just off I-75 at Athens that we said hello. Fourth down coming up, the premier game of the weekend, talking NC State right after this 60 seconds. The best thing about Dynasty Pools and Spas is that they've got it all taken care of. What does that mean? Well, you stop by their showroom and check out their fantastic selection of top-notch spas in that showroom in Athens. Make your pick and get ready, because Dynasty Pools and Spas delivers within 125 miles of that location in Athens, that fantastic showroom. They've got the cover lift, steps, chemicals, and everything you need. Delivery at no extra charge. They're just down the road in Athens. You pick the spa you want, and it'll be there for you. Oftentimes discounted with military and first responders discounts. Also blemish models, or just mention Off the Hook Sports. That's Off the Hook Sports for $500 off. There's a discount for you on spas made right here in East Tennessee. Support local. Dynasty Pools and Spas also has the best chemicals for you and your spa and your pool. No fillers, just the chemicals made right here in East Tennessee. Support local. Dynasty Pools and Spas, $500 off if you mention Off the Hook Sports. $500 off if you mention Off the Hook Sports. Dynasty Pools and Spas, dynastypoolsandspas.com.
SEC Center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
Could Tennessee survive a loss to NC State?
Yes, they could survive it more than they could to Oklahoma. And we talked about this yesterday, and I think the biggest reason is it could be one of those where they lose and everybody writes them off, and then they slowly but surely start winning every game after that. Toward the end of the season, everybody's like, well, that NC State loss was just Nico's second game. Not a big deal. I think they're fine now. It could be very much like the year Ohio State won the national title when they lost to an unranked Virginia Tech team by 2 touchdowns the second game. But everybody forgot about them. And then down the road, they're like, well, that was JT Barrett's first game. So, it's not a big deal. That I could see that.